Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. Excited to have the crew together. Hashtag Morness-Project. That's what you got to do. Hashtag Morness-Project and everything you look at, read at, and of course, Facebook. You got to check out his group. Syl Sabastian, Beena Sidd joining us here from Nobelia.org, really changing the way we think, the way of impeccability. Hey, the book. Hey, the books, plural. There's so much to this man, to this woman, and I'm excited to have them back. Took a little hiatus. I'm glad to see you both. How are you?
Oh, very good, very good. How about you, Beena?
I'm very well, and I'm very excited. And it is good to see you. So refreshing, Jill.
Yeah. Thank
you have very positive presence, very positive and good vibes. So yes, that's wonderful to be here.
You're looking refreshed.
That's what a little vacation does and a little tan does.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. Ah, you got a good tan. Yes, well, it's working well.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the show. Please tell us a little bit about yourself before we begin, as always.
Wow, wonderful. We do every day. We are live on in my Facebook group, and to find it, it's just SASI Group. Just put it into Facebook, and it'll come right up. You know, we pronounce it SASI Group, but it's, I guess, SASI. It's just SASI, standing for self-awareness, self-improvement, as the first part of the name of the group. And then it goes on to say it's a self-awareness, self-improvement, self-discovery discussion group. So lots going on there. Anyway, we are live, and what we do is we share Morness culture, which is a culture that we've put together, we've created. It comes from programs that I put together, that I do, and from the books, and from everything that we do. And there's a lot to Morness culture. It's a culture, and it has its own language, the language of conceptionality. There's a lot to it. So this is what we do. We share Morness culture and share. Yes, that's it. We don't have any agenda to get followers or likes or any stuff like that. No, we're just sharing for the pure joy and the magic of sharing itself, right? Sharing has a real magic to it when we share. And talking about sharing, I have something to share, right? Beena, I texted Beena in the middle of the night. I don't know if you saw my message there.
Yes.
Well, you know, when I'm
like
sleeping,
you woke me up,
I wake up. What's that?
She's like, you woke me up. How dare you? No.
No, I don't know if Beena pays any attention to the text in the night. Do you, Beena, when I come in the middle of the night? Yeah. Well, also, since Beena's literally on the other side of the earth from me, she's 12 hours away, time zone, so she's literally on the other side of the earth. My middle of the night is middle of the morning or day for Beena, so it's pretty safe. But even so, I think Beena, probably you turn off your phone when you go to sleep, I would imagine.
Yes, always.
So, no risk there. I just put it there so I don't forget.
Yeah.
So what did I text you, Beena? Do you remember? Did you even see?
Yes.
Did you even see this?
Yes. I just want to read it exactly as you said.
Because sometimes I send the most profound things, and then the next morning, like nothing, you know.
Okay, I do take time to really absorb things, because whatever he shares always have many layers and always have such moreness and such depth. So you cannot just respond, oh yes, that's wonderful. You cannot do this, because if you really want to make it your own, and if you really want to change and transform your life, you have to ponder on it. You have to absorb it, let it sink in, and then of course, so the last one was still hierarchy of motivations.
Right. Now listen what Beena said there. See, I was talking about Morness culture and the language of conceptionality. Beena said you have to make it your own. Now, in language of conceptionality and part of way of impeccability, we have your dictionary of power. Everybody makes their own dictionary of power. And in Beena's dictionary of power, she's got make it my own, or make it your own, hyphenated, capitalized, to make it into a power conception. Because that's so crucial for any kind of change. If you just adopt things from elsewhere, it's like they sit on your hard drive, like you're downloading an upgrade. Yeah, you have to install it, and making it your own. That's the installation process. Yeah, makes a big difference. Anyway, so hierarchy of motivations. Now, I just said it in the brief way, but really, the full title would be hierarchy of motivations, goals, aspirations, ambitions, ideas, beliefs, etc. All of the above. Yeah. So big deal. Now, what do I mean by this? What is the underlying understanding here? It is when we take anything that motivates us, which is, a goal, a motivation, aspiration, a belief, idea. We can be motivated by a desire, could be in there, desires and wants, anything which motivates us. And we say, all right, let's take a typical motivation, and we take like wealth. Yes. Now, if we are motivated by wealth, and especially if this motivation comes to us early via our upbringing culture, the culture
Okay.
that culture could be the culture of your home, community, country, world, doesn't matter. If you acquire that particular motivation early on, that does not necessarily mean that you are going to be ethical and act with integrity in the pursuit of that motivation. Because it's wealth. The goal is to get wealth. How you get it doesn't matter. Same with winning. Yes, when people are obsessed with winning, and it's like win at all costs, right?
Yep.
Winning is absolutely everything. However, if the hierarchy of your motivations is first of all to act with integrity and to act ethically, to act in accordance to your conscience, to act impeccably, etc., then no matter what secondary motivation comes, you are always going to be covered. Now, from an individual point of view, yes, this is very important. I got all sorts of weird things going on here today.
Okay.
Yeah, who knows? Now, from an individual point of view, yes, this is, it's, of course it's important. But from a cultural overall point of view, this is absolutely crucial. Because especially, for instance, winning, we see this so often with winning and with wealth, that the pursuit of it completely lets go of
Yeah.
any sensibility and sobriety, because that goal has been set as primary and as so important. It must be accomplished. And look at people with wealth; they just keep going and going and going and going, and it's a never-ending thing, right? They never have enough. Yeah. Now, okay, it's not necessarily a negative, but also how they get there. I mean, we see all the unethical behavior that comes from the pursuit, and also just winning. Even in your day-to-day life, when I grew up as a child, because, being right and good, I grew up in the very first community I grew up in, very, very strictly religious. So being good was absolutely the most prime motivation. Yeah. First, that came first. Being obedient came second. Now, I didn't much follow the second one, but I certainly attached to the first one, because I saw the artificiality, fortunately, of the second one. You cannot be blindly obedient. And I saw this, unfortunately, in that community. They were very much blindly obedient. And it really killed them inside. It made them inadvertent hypocrites. And that ate them up. It was really, really sad, right? I mean, I saw it even as a very young child. I could see this. Anyway, now, so when you have this, your ethics and your integrity, your conscience, doing right and good, if that comes first, then whatever you do afterwards doesn't subvert you, doesn't corrupt you. But talk about winning. I was saying, I saw this, well, even today I see this. When people are so obsessed with winning, right? And they play games.
My goodness. I
They
hate this.
cheat in the games.
Dislike.
I mean, you're playing Monopoly and you cheat or whatever. It's like, the way I grew up, that was absolutely impossible. Whoever I played with, my friends, my family, brothers and sisters, and I have a bunch of them, it was just unthinkable. It never happened, right? And if you speak to many people, they say, "What do you mean it never happened?" And I give you another example, right? Because that was so primary. When I came to America, people would chat and just have a regular conversation. And they say, "Oh, when we were kids, and like, you go shoplifting, like kids do." And I'm like, "What do you mean, like kids do?
Well, kids do that. Yeah. Okay.
Like, what do you mean, like kids do?
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, you're saying that like it's a natural thing, like all kids do." They say, "Yeah, well, didn't you shoplift, kids?" I said, "No, I didn't even know any kids that shoplifted.
No.
Not a single one. Not a single one of my friends." Same with Beena, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes,
it was never a thought, never a consideration. Was like, are you crazy? You know, the difference in the culture. Why? Because in one culture, that primacy of doing right and good was so stressed. Now, okay, they went
Yeah.
overboard a bit with their thing. But my point is, it's about the hierarchy of goals.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a hierarchy of goals, and your goals in the culture that you grow up in is, ambition, status, wealth, or artificial goals that don't have
Totally.
integrity as their core, then you get this nonsense that's happening, right? Because what is the motivation behind that shoplifting typically? It's status, right? Which is a very primary motivation in superiority culture.
Yeah.
And for the kids, why are they shoplifting? Because of status with their friends, to be cool, to fit in. Yeah, that's usually the issue, right? Or to rebel. They think they should in some way do this. Yeah, it's absurd.
yes,
It's really absurd, because their motivations are completely messed up. They don't have motivations that are real. Yeah, and it's not just a motivation. I'm using motivation to come. It's belief system, right?
Yep.
Ideology, aspiration,
True.
ambition. Right? I was fortunately, I had that root of doing what's right according to your conscience. But my mother, ambition to her, she was a completely very
Mm-hmm.
person. So my father, ambition was like the golden word to them. That was the thing that they would have loved to see the most in their children, was for the
Ah,
children ambitious. But think of it, right? When you're ambitious, are you willing to sell your soul for your ambition? No. No, not good, not good. Does this make sense what I'm saying? Beena, I'm keen to hear
absolutely.
your comments. And while you do that, I want to try and take care of something. I'm listening. I'm listening. You just
Go,
won't hear
Beena,
me.
go.
okay, yes, yes, because ambition is something, yes. Even though the culture was refined, but it was
Yeah.
that ambition was not a clear thing. So we all grew up, and me also, that I was so inclined towards this idea that, okay, yes, we have to be ambitious. That was the should mindset Syl keep referring about. The should mindset was that, okay, everybody is so ambitious and this is good and we have to be. This is not a bad thing. Again, what Syl is saying that, because it is exactly the difference between the fine dining and the buffet. If you just
Ooh.
look at yourself, that, okay, what we are doing, and how, just observe people when they are coming out of restaurants or hotels after fine dining and after buffet. You can see the difference. This is exactly what happened when we go just buy the shirts and have, okay, yes, ambition, and then I
Yeah.
need to collect and collect and collect, without having actual, real, deliberate choices. This is the difference, exactly like that. For me, it is very clear that, okay, if you have a fine dining, you will enjoy that because these are your choices, what you are eating, even it is going to be very small, or, okay, in comparison to the buffet, like you have abundance, plethora of foods there, but you will not feel good at the end. You will see that. You can see that people coming out and they feel uncomfortable in their own being because they were stuffing themselves. But the fine dining was their deliberate choices and they were making, and it makes you more happy and more fulfilled and more satisfied, and you feel happy about yourself. So the idea of ambition is to keep running. Aspiration, on the other hand, yes, it has very clear motives that how you are getting. Yes, I like to have this particular dish. I really love that. But how I'm going to have this? This is
Yeah.
the difference. This is the difference between aspiration and ambition. So when my conscience is clear, when I'm achieving anything in my life, as far as I understand, Syl is not against any goal achievement. No,
Correct. No, not at all. As long
but
as it's appropriate.
not to compromise your integrity, not on the stake of your
Yeah.
character and basic ethics. So this
Yeah.
is this is the difference between the ambition and the aspiration for me. So Syl, please
Yeah.
continue.
And that's that hierarchy. See, now in
Yes.
superiority paradigm, hierarchy is a very negative thing because it's all about comparison and comparing, putting yourself higher, pulling others down, to or
Mm-hmm.
pushing people down. All this to put yourself up. It's an artificial goal, and that's why the hierarchy of motivations or hierarchy of goals, hierarchy of intents. When you start to see,
Yep.
wow, this goal doesn't have any ethics to it. It doesn't have any integrity to it. It doesn't have any realness to it. Who am I doing
Mm-hmm.
this for? The ambition usually. Who is it for? It's for the approval of others.
Others, not.
Like,
ourselves.
really? Come on, you want to live your life for other people? You're not living your life, you're living their lives, or at least the idea of it, right? You're living an artificial life, in other words. Now, again, ambition, if that's what you really want and it fulfills you, and you don't care what anybody says, if you achieve your ambition, everybody may hate it and you're still happy, all right, go ahead. Then it's right for you. That's the key point here, right? That's the key point. You need to do what's right for you. And that's the key. And like Beena said, the key crucial element when it comes to your goals, ambitions, ideas, beliefs especially, is to think it through to the end. Right? To the end. See, Joe already knows it.
I'm
That's why I
mind
get
reading you.
shouted every time. It makes all the difference, especially with ambition. When you say, oh, okay, I'm going to do this and get and then you ask, and then what? When you ask people who talk about their ambitions and you say, and then what? They don't know what to say. They never went that far, right? And then when they think about it, yeah. And when then what really comes and smacks people upside the head and knocks them, what do they say? Spout over tea kettle. Something else over tea kettle, but I'm amending it a bit for Beena. But midlife crisis. That's when, and then what really comes and smacks you. Yeah, that's when people realize they've gotten everything that they have, and then somewhere and now what, right? And that's when it all implodes and collapses, and that's why they're in crisis, because they don't have an answer to the and then what, or they do, and they realize, oh, I spent all this time chasing this hollowness, and here I am, and I've gotten it, and it's hollow. Yeah, not fun. So very crucial, very, very crucial to think it through to the end. Yeah.
Yes. So I have a question for you, because when you say about the motivation and of course the ambition and aspiration, how to motivate ourselves without compromising our ethics, because it kills that passion that, okay, yes, I can do that and I'm going to do this, because this is something, it's coming from very from, you can say that, okay, from inner side, that it is coming out, but then you have like, okay, now I have to compromise, I cannot compromise on my character, I cannot compromise on ethics, and then I have to let people go. How to actually keep us motivated?
Love this question. It's a very, very profound question, and the answer is even more profound. Living via attunement. That's how
become attuned.
Because here's the point. When I think about what I want, my motivations, the back of my mind, especially when I think it through, I start to realize, how do I know what's right for me, what's best for me? I have no idea. What do I know compared to life, the universe? My humility says I may or may not know what is best for me. However, paying attention to attunement, and when you really understand what attunement is, then you come to understand what comes to you via attunement is right, capital R, right, not right in a moralistic sense, but right for you, appropriate, in other words, for you. Not only appropriate right now, but appropriate tomorrow, next year, next century, next life, whatever, right? Appropriate in all contexts. And when you see things and when they come to you and you know that it is deeply, deeply right, that is incredibly motivating. How can you not do something that is coming from such a profoundness? Yeah, Beena?
By coming to you, you mean that, okay, opportunities?
Not just opportunity, but motivation, idea, goal, inspiration, doesn't matter. However it comes to you, it's where it's coming from. It's where, right? When we have typically in that hierarchy of motivations, the extended title that includes now goals and desires and wants and beliefs, ideas, where did that come from? Typically, it comes from somewhere inside us, or we don't even know where it comes. We've just assimilated. We've picked it up. It comes from our family, our culture, our church, our work, our job, the corporation, whatever. Popular media, culture, movies, all of this stuff, right? That's where the stuff has come from. It hasn't come from anywhere actually real, because that's all just stuff and nonsense, right? It doesn't have any realness to it. Yeah, but when it's coming from the universe, or if you're religiously minded, it comes from God or Allah, Buddha, wherever. Krishna, doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
When it's coming from that kind of a source, there's no doubt in it. It's a whole different logic. And that's where the motivation comes from, Beena. It's when you feel it to be real rather than something that, just my idea. Yeah. Does it make sense, Beena?
Oh yes, definitely makes sense. But I would love
yeah.
to have some real life story about this thing, like to make sense that okay, yes, everything, like how actually it works. Okay, I know that okay, you have tons of stories about practical stories, how these things come, because attunement is such a complex and very sophisticated concept. And to understand that, because when I'm scrolling my news feed on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, a lot of motivational quotes come in, and they okay, I thought like, okay, oh, this is exactly according to my situation. Oh, this is coming from the universe.
Yeah.
But most of the time it doesn't, because this is how I trained my algorithm to work. Okay, it's going to just focus on self-learning and growing. If I would be choosing cooking, then it will be like that. So it is something not very reliable to just, okay, yeah, it is coming from the universe. So attunement is something like, okay, I really want to have next week, please share it, some real life story where we can actually see the events and how things came up and to understand the attunement part of it.
All right. So I'll use a very personal story. A personal story of when Beena and I first met.
Oh.
Yes. All right. So I had put together Way-Of-Impeccability, the core program. It's a life change and a self change program, right? And which is at the root of Moreness-Culture. And I had finished it and I wanted to test it, right? So I made an announcement, just a post on Facebook, and I said, I'm looking for post-beta testers, right? Because it's already out of beta, it's ready to go. I want to just confirm everything. And Beena responded. Yes. Now I said in my thing there, or at least when I explained to Beena, I don't know if I put it in the post itself. I said, because it's post-beta, there is some cost involved. Yeah? And Beena said, well, I can't afford anything. And
I said, I would love
well,
to, but I can't afford.
I said, there are many ways to fry a pancake. And then I said, in other words, there's many ways to pay for something. Money's not the only way to pay for something. And, meaning that she could help me with stuff and all sorts of stuff. But the underlying motivation was, and I'm coming to the attunement part, the underlying motivation behind that for me was I wanted to make sure Beena was invested and motivated.
Yeah.
I was quite happy to say, well, I do it for free. It's no problem, because I could hear Beena's earnestness. I could hear her moreness. I could hear that desire to really learn and grow and change, right? I mean, she was very excited about this idea. It was a really big deal for her. I would be very happy to say I do for free. But by putting some unspecified obligation that Beena had to fulfill, it motivates Beena, because I know her integrity won't let her now, partake and not put the effort in that's required, right? And that's exactly what happened. So I'm doing Beena a favor. It's a great courtesy for me to put that little bit extra on, right?
Yes.
To put some kind of investment from Beena, in other words. But now, where's the attunement here, right? The oddity, the unusualness, what points it out as saying, here's something special. When Beena came on, right, her connection kept dropping, right? Her internet, it just kept on dropping. And over again. We were probably on 2 or 3 hours, dropping, coming back. Now, I have ridiculous patience, something I work from, and it's ridiculous, right?
We've dealt with that here before. Yeah, we do. We do often, don't we?
Right. I mean, because I really worked at it. I understood from way back in my life that patience is a superpower. So I said, man, you know what? I don't particularly feel very smart or clever or whatever, but I know that with patience, that this is something I can acquire if I make the effort, right? So, all right, okay. Anyway, so I kept going and I was just patient. And this really, really, really struck Beena. It was, it blew her away. And there was the anomalousness, right? That she was so taken by the patience and the courtesy and the consideration that went along with the patience. So that was a revelation to me. And it was something, wow, this is anomalous. Most people aren't that connected or pay attention or have the inner purity to really appreciate something like this.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's pointing it out. Plus the fact that it had disconnected so often. That was the real anomaly, this continuousness, right? And I was just like beyond reason that it would keep on doing this. And so I'm saying something's going on here. Pay attention, pay attention, pay attention.
Mhm.
And of course, the more I paid attention, the more I saw and heard real
Yeah.
being. Yes, I heard the purity, the moreness. Because whenever you meet somebody at the first time, you're hearing their public persona, you're hearing their cultural persona, you're hearing their ambitions, their status, their ideas, their beliefs, their shoulds, for instance. Right? But we have to learn to see past that. But we don't always get the opportunity to see past
Nope.
that. And Beena was apologizing like you can't believe.
Aw, she's such a good girl.
It was heart-wrenchingly, heart-touchingly beautiful. Yes, I mean how put out Beena was, but I kept at it, so I didn't let Beena off the hook by saying, "Okay, we'll do it." Come on. Never let her off the
Oh.
hook, right? And
Well-
that too is part of the anomaly. That
Well-
Beena, despite being grossly uncomfortable, persisted
Oh.
because she perceived
Yes.
the bonus
Yes.
involved, right, Beena?
And
Well-
it changes my life, like forever. It was like, okay, now I can say that, okay, Beena before that incident and Beena after that. So
Yeah.
yes, I understand. But still, I would love to continue with this attunement next week also, because I do have a lot of
Perfect.
questions about it.
Please.
It's a
Thank you.
very,
And
very
unfortunately, we're out of
sophisticated
time. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Next week.
No.
Next week.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for giving us
Guys,
time.
Thank you so much, as
Well-
always. Nobelia.org. Thank you again. And don't forget, go to the website, pick up a copy of the book. Hello. What's the title again?
Ask Biela. Questions answered. Yes.
Perfect. And plenty more. Go to the website. Bye. Thank you.
Yes.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.